What's up, guys? If you are watching this video, you made it to my YouTube channel. Thanks for checking it out. My name is Chris Grenzi. You're probably here because you're looking at something involving real estate. I just wanted to do a video about myself, how I got to where I am at this point in time, just to kind of contextualize, my experiences and stuff like that. So when I'm talking about different things, I'm not just some random guy that's talking out his ass and doesn't really know what he's talking about. I generally try to stick to things I know pretty confidently based on my experience or a conversation I have with people who are more experienced than I am. So with that, it is May 24th, 2019. I'm 27 years old. I'm from Long Island, New York, but I actually live in Brooklyn now in Williamsburg. And I graduated from Hofstra in 2014. I played Division I soccer there. And after I graduated, I didn't really have a plan. I hadn't done any internships, didn't really have any jobs lined up. And right as graduation kind of came around, and I think it was a few weeks into summer, I kind of just fell into a job as a Division II assistant soccer coach. A friend of mine hooked me up with somebody he knew, and I decided to take that job because I didn't have anything else. And it was up in Massachusetts, so I moved up to Worcester at Assumption College for a year. And if you know anybody that is a collegiate coach, especially an assistant, especially at a small school, you know pretty well that the pay basically sucks and you can't live on it. So I had to go out and get a second job. I was part-time for Assumption, and the most typical thing that college coaches will do is go and coach youth soccer. And because I was fairly new and I wasn't established with a club or anything, I had much younger kids. And as nice as they are and as much as I like kids, I quickly learned that youth soccer coaching is more like babysitting than it really is coaching. So while I really enjoyed coaching, especially at the college level, the youth coaching really wasn't for me. So on top of that, I also quickly realized that I missed New York. I grew up there. I went to school there. All my friends and family were basically in New York, and I wanted to come back. So I stuck it out for a year. After the year was up, I got a new job coaching again Division II for Queens College in Queens, New York. But instead of getting a youth coaching job, I found another job. I tried applying to just shitty ones like Panera, McDonald's, Costco, and Starbucks. Didn't get a call back. But I ended up applying for a job as a stockbroker for a small company on the South Shore of Long Island, and ended up going there for a little over a year. Started out cold calling, got my licenses, my Series 7 and 63, so I was licensed. They ran out, no longer licensed, and learned a ton there. But while I was going through it over time, I learned that it also wasn't for me. I didn't enjoy making 400, 500, 600 calls a day. I didn't really like some of the sales tactics that were used, and it didn't really align with my moral code, so I wanted to get out. And in January 2016, I was starting to have those thoughts that I wanted to get out, or I was just looking for something new as well. And my mom and my cousin at the time had bought a course for house flipping, for single-family homes, and they were going to learn, and then they were going to try to flip single-family homes on Long Island. And I didn't really have a ton of interest in it. I was still, my middle to low 20s, and I was still having, my fun on the weekends. And this was a 2 or 3 day seminar, basically all day. You go early in the morning, you leave late at night, you come back, and I think it was Saturday, Sunday. I don't think it was Friday. And they eventually convinced me to come. So I went there, and I started learning about it, and I got hooked pretty quickly. I thought it was really interesting. I had no real estate experience beforehand. The only thing I had was I grew up in a house, and I rented a house while I was at school, and I was renting a house while I was working as a stockbroker. That was it. I mean, the perfect example I give was before I kind of started with that course, I thought asbestos was a type of mold. So if you know what that is, you probably had a nice little chuckle. If you don't, Google it, you will. So I really had no background. I started studying a lot on the weekends and nights, really trying to learn more about real estate, about flipping. I listened to podcasts. I read a couple books. I'm not really a big book reader, more audio than reading a book, and audiobooks are pretty dry for me. But ton of podcasts, ton of networking, meetups, conferences, just some of that stuff, and just trying to learn as much as I can, as quick as I can, so I can scale up this stuff. And at that point, 2, 3, 4 months into it, I really was dying to leave. I really wasn't enjoying it, but I was staying there because I was renting. I had bills to pay, car, all that stuff. So I decided to continue to stick it out. But while we were going through, we tried to flip homes for probably 6 to 8 months, give or take. I forget the exact timeline. And we we did. We flat out failed, didn't flip a single home. I don't even think we put any under contract. And for me, it was for two main reasons. The first one was our, lack of execution. I don't think we gave it everything we had. I don't think we did everything we could to make it work. I think we probably would have had some level of success if, we gave literally 100%. But for whatever reason, we had some other stuff going on and we just didn't. The second part was also the course that we purchased was centered around the ability to do quick estimations for purchase, rehab, holding costs, exit price, stuff like that. And especially in the rehab and holding cost aspect, the estimations for costs were much lower because New York and Long Island is a high income, also high expense area. Taxes, labor, material, lawyer, accountant, all that stuff is more expensive than probably 90%, 80% of the country. So it wasn't built to suit. Could we have maybe played with some of the spreadsheets, formulas, stuff like that to make it work? Yes, which is why I take some, what's the word I'm looking for? Take some responsibility and say we didn't execute, but it wasn't as good as it was in some areas where a lot of other people were having success. So from there, we decided to try to move into something else. And through networking, we met John, who is one of the owners of Toro, where I work now. I work for and with him. And at the time, he was just finishing up doing a lot of tax deed stuff in Philadelphia and was finalizing his move into multifamily full time. And he knew what we were trying to do. He knew we were struggling in flipping, and he said, "Hey, why don't you guys, check this out? I'll kind of give you the framework, and you guys can take it over, and maybe you can build into something really nice." So he kind of showed us the ropes a little bit, and what we ended up doing was my cousin and I we decided to go down one week, and the way it kind of worked is, from what I remember, they put a list of 200, 300, 400 properties that are going for auction. Some of them are in the worst of the worst areas you wouldn't touch, so you kind of eliminate those, and then you drive as many of the other properties as you can that are on their list and find out as much information as you can, because the list is very little information. Sometimes it doesn't even have the number of bedrooms, bathrooms, the construction, stuff like that, important stuff. So you go down, you try to figure out to the best of your ability what the condition of the property is, what the size is, the lot size, all that stuff. You try to figure out as much as you can. So when you go to the auction, you have a better idea of what you're bidding on. And the thought process behind the auction is you can buy stuff for pennies on the dollars, but you're a little bit of a crapshoot where sometimes you walk in and there's a hole in the ceiling, and sometimes you walk in and it's basically rent ready except for a fresh paint coat. So a fresh coat of paint, excuse me. So we drove down there on a Saturday. We spent probably 10 to 14 hours driving all these properties, came back, and quickly realized that it wasn't for us. My mom didn't even want to drive down. She said she didn't want to do it, but she would support on the financial side, the operations side, the organization side, all that stuff. My cousin and I didn't want to do it. He was just about to have his first kid, so he didn't want to spend all his weekends driving down to Philly, to buy properties, to operate the properties, to manage the properties, to take care of any problems. Just wasn't right. It's a 2-3 hour drive to get down there. And I was still, early to mid-20s, having my fun on the weekends, with friends, family, this, that, and the other thing. And I had no desire to spend all my weekends doing that. So much quicker than the flipping, we realized it wasn't the right type of real estate for us. We were still very interested, just not there. So came back, put our heads together. We were sitting down with John and just having a chat and just letting him know, like, hey, thank you so much, but I don't think it's going to be right for us. And just kind of talking through it, why, and that stuff. And just while we were sat down towards the end of the meeting, he just said, hey, I know you guys are trying to do your own thing, but I just wanted to toss this out there. I am raising money for an 8-unit in Covington, Kentucky. Would you guys have any interest in investing passively? And we kind of came together, my mom, my cousin, and I talked, and we decided we would pull some money together, invest in the property passively, not actively. We wouldn't be running the deal, with the only caveat being that, just verbally we could sit down or jump on a call and just kind of pick his brain and learn more about it. And we ended up doing that, and that kind of turned into a quasi-partnership, where after that, we kind of joined forces to go buy another 17 units in the same area, and then also to go out and buy an 82-unit in Jacksonville, Florida. So we weren't just investing passively, we were also active on the sponsorship or the syndicator side. While that was happening, and kind of while we were in the process of closing the Jacksonville deal, John and I were sitting down and grabbing coffee one time, and we were just getting to talking, getting to know each other one another, and it was just kind of coincidental that we just had a lot of similarities in our life. He and I both grew up in Long Island, both grew up playing sports. He went to Queens College for baseball. I went to Hofstra for soccer. Came out of school, both had a couple different jobs, and then he found his way into a stockbroker role. Actually worked for the same people I had worked for, just at a different company. He had transitioned full-time into real estate. I was really trying to transition full-time into real estate. He was only a couple of years, still is only a couple years older than me. And while we're sitting down talking, I was telling him, hey, I just think I'm going to leave. I'm going to try to hack it, see if I can pay my bills, find my way. And just funny enough, him and his partner, Don, were thinking about bringing someone in full-time to work with them on the multifamily business. At Toro, they were buying, 100+ unit properties. Right before I worked, they had closed on, I believe, a 240 and a 200 unit property. They had 160 unit property under contract. And he said to me, look, it's a little early for us, so it'll probably be a pay cut for you, but it's an opportunity to come in and have a job in real estate full-time, learn underneath us, and then evolve into a larger role. I can't remember how quickly I said yes, but I'm pretty sure it was pretty damn quick. And I ended up quitting that month, transitioning full-time into Toro. That was August of 2016, and then I came in and just spent the next 3, 4, 5 months just really, really learning about the business, everything that's involved, and learning how, they do the business as well, right? Because everybody's got a little bit of a different spin and way of looking at things. So really came in, they took me under their wing and taught me everything they know. And from there, I kind of moved into an operations manager role where I helped a lot with stuff around the office, stuff at the properties, keeping them running smoothly, helping with investor relations. And then from there, really moved into and took a larger role where now I'm basically running the Florida region of our portfolio, which is now 750 units. We've acquired 3,100. We've probably sold, I'll say, 1,000 to 1,500, so almost half. So if we had 1,500 to 2,000 left, it's anywhere from half the portfolio to a third, I guess, give or take. And I had a large part in the acquisitions of those deals. I now run those deals on a day-to-day. And the portfolio we just closed was 552 units, 3 properties, $39 million. I played a large part in, finding the deals, underwriting the deals, talking to the debt, the insurance, management, doing the due diligence, going down to tour them, getting the vendors out, checking with the vendors to make sure it's all there. And the manager helps with a lot of that stuff, but from our side, doing all that. And then, taking the properties at contract, negotiating with the brokers, negotiating with the sellers, and, everything that's involved, took a lion's share of the responsibility. And with the help of John and Don, we just closed those deals 2-3 weeks ago. So it's really evolved into a role where I do have a lot of experience now, or relative to a lot of people who are trying to get into it, where I think in the past I didn't know as much as I do today. Obviously, I'm still learning, but I'm continuing to evolve into a role and a position where I'm unique, that I'm still fairly young. Like I said, I'm 27. I'm young to a lot of the people in the world, and I have the ability to give some insight into things that we know as a larger company, where we have acquired 3,100 units, we've acquired $195 million worth of deals. That's a good chunk of experience and a track record, and I've seen deals be bought and sold and how they operated against what we projected and how things changed, and see how even the best business plan may have to change because something came up you don't know about, and how tons of different things and things I want to talk about and share with, so other people can learn from it. And like I said, I just wanted to do this video so you learn a little bit more about who I am, and you have some context about when I'm speaking about things. I do have some experience when I'm talking about them, so you won't really hear me talk about flipping too much, except for how it failed. You won't hear me talk about self-storage, because I know next to nothing about it. But in the multifamily, the commercial space, the rental space, the mobile home space, I think I have enough experience to talk to a large group of people. There's obviously a ton of people who have the same or way more experience than I do, and I'm not really talking to them to educate them. I am going to be talking to them to learn from them and pass that knowledge on, and hopefully record a lot of it for other people. But I'm just trying to help other people in any way I can, and also just document some of the stuff, because I think in 1, 3, 5, 10 years it could be really interesting to look back on and see how ridiculous this video looks in 10 years compared to who I am then. So I'm excited to do some stuff. If you don't follow me on some of the other channels, I am right now very active on Instagram, on LinkedIn. I'm going to be getting more involved on Facebook and Twitter, but on Instagram it's at Grenzig, CRE. On LinkedIn I'm Chris Grenzig. On Facebook, Grenzig CRE, and Twitter I'll be Grenzig CRE. So if you're not following me on the other ones, please do. If you're not subscribed here, and I'm still doing videos, make sure you subscribe and keep an eye out for future stuff. Thanks for listening.